When these videos dropped yesterday, like most of you probably, I was absolutely stunned by the improvements that they have made to the graphics as compared to FM23. And so today's video, we are going to be looking at both drops that have happened this week, and we're going to be taking a very quick look at player targets and what that will mean and how I will avoid using those like the plague. And then we are going to take a deeper look at what has happened in terms of graphic development and how they have used inverse kinematics to improve the overall experience, and what that is going to mean to you as a game player, both the pros and the cons. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to FM with Old Man Phil, and if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil and welcome to the channel. And today we are going to be taking a look at two things. The two drops that have happened this week. We are going to be taking a look at individual player targets, something I do not intend to use very much and something I do not intend to spend very much time on during this video. And then we are going to get on to what everybody wants to talk about, and that is the brand new graphics that we've been seeing previewed over the last couple of days. And boy, do they look something special. But before we go into both of those topics, if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content, you love to see people suffer playing the game, then I can tell you, you are definitely in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch, comment, help the channel to grow, help us to support the very good work of the British Heart Foundation. So let's begin with individual player targets and interaction logic. And targets are fairly easy to understand. Interaction logic perhaps is something that needs a little bit more explanation. Basically, individual targets are designed to incentivize your players, and you can use a player's training, his goals, assists, clean sheets, match performances, and you can use all these things in order to motivate your players, but you will need to offer them something in return for motivating themselves. And so basically it's just a promise that you make. It will come under a new heading here, a new tab called targets. You'll still have your promises that you've already made, but these are just additional promises. So for example, in this example, we are looking at a player on loan from Brighton. When you negotiated his contract to come on loan, you negotiated that he would achieve a target of 5 assists in the league. He is currently on 2. He's delighted with his progress. And at the end of his contract, he has been made a promise that when he returns to his club, Brighton, he will be made a fringe player. It is your job to help him to achieve his targets so that he can become a fringe player on his return. And so therefore I would try to avoid these like the plague. And you can also offer your own players incentives in order to improve in terms of their development, or set different targets for them and make a promise that if they achieve that target, you will give them something. And this can be done when setting up a contract. And in this example, you can see that he has negotiated a playing time of regular starter, but he also wants to be an important player next season. You have told him in your contract negotiations that you will give him that role of important player as long as he scores 15 league goals. Again, I would want to remove all of these, because should he score 15 league goals, you are obligated then to make him an important player, which you may not want to because of rotational issues. So again, it's something that I'm really not interested in taking part in, and I'm not going to be hopefully setting up too many of these things. And the reason is that possibly the player may become upset as a result of not meeting his target. But in this example that you can see here, the player has said due to his failure, he accepts that you're no longer obligated to fulfill your promise to give him a new contract. What he's saying here is that it's not your fault. Other players may say that it's your fault and that you have not given them enough opportunity in order to fulfill their target. And so this could cause additional problems to you. And again, it's something that I do not plan to use much. For me, they are just extra promises that you will have to keep. And I don't really understand why any manager would make promises of any kind to any player, because it will just cause you problems at the end of the day. The only way I can see this being helpful is that if you you have an unhappy player who wants new contract, then you can say to him, okay, I want 5 assists before the end of the season. If he doesn't get them, then you're not obligated to give him a new contract. But if he gets them, then you have to keep your word and then start negotiating a new contract with him. That would be a way of buying time if you don't have the money available within your wage budget. And that is the only way I can see it being useful to me. There are also changes to general interaction with players, agents, team meetings, etc. I'm not going to go through what the changes are, but they have said that they have added now 2,000 new AI responses, and these cover all sorts of different interactions that you have within the game. The wording that they've used is quite interesting in that they have said, we've also looked at hundreds of other areas of the game where you are having conversations with your players or their agents and try to make them even more believable. Well, I would say a little more believable, because at the moment they are not very believable at all. But any improvement is an improvement, and hopefully it will give you better options in order to address things like team meetings, like player meetings, like working with agents and all sorts of other interactions, hopefully even the press. But it is not my intention to go through all of this. I'm not going to be using this very much. If I can possibly avoid it, I will be. And so you can read for yourself exactly what the plans are for making changes here. Now I want to get on to the more important drop that's happened this week. Let's take a look at the new graphics. And in order to achieve this, they have improved the in-house animation engine, and they have utilized inverse kinematics to reflect real-life captured data. And then to make use of the new database of animations, they've used this in combination with motion matching, and this brings a lot more fluidity to player movement. So what is inverse kinematics? Well, we're going to use a little clip just to describe what inverse kinematics is. So just keep an eye on the player in the blue kit who's in the center of midfield. And at some point very soon, he is going to raise his arm. Now, I don't know how he's actually expecting that fullback to thread a pass through to him, but at least he gets full marks for being very enthusiastic and wanting to be on the ball. But that little animation in itself is a very simple animation to do. And traditionally, they would have done that by mapping out 2 areas. And the first thing they would have done is animate the elbow joint. And so they would have mapped the end point of the elbow joint. And once that was complete, they would then map out the end point of the hand. So there would be 2 steps involved in doing that simple little animation that involves raising the hand. But using inverse kinematics, what they're able to do now is they are able just to focus on the end point. So they would focus on the hand, and then a mathematical formula would fill in the gaps in between the hand and the shoulder, thus requiring only 1 step. And so it is much easier to animate human movement. And so the plus points for this is that it's much easier, much quicker to animate human motion, and therefore a lot more can be done. However, there are some cons to this, and the first one is that it is a much more expensive way than the traditional forward method that we saw earlier. And secondly, from what I've read, inverse kinematics can also create a lot of glitches within a game, and it can also twist the body into some very strange positions. And so on the negative side, what might happen when the beta drops is that we are going to see some very strange animations and some very strange human shapes. These are glitches that are going to need to be reported as bugs. There's probably going to be quite a lot of them if I'm to believe what I'm reading about inverse kinematics. But hopefully they'll be able to iron them all out before the full release comes out in early November. Even if we go through the year with a lot of glitches, with a lot of problems, I would see this as not a problem. I think it's very important that we see this as part of a huge development that's going to happen over the next 3-4 years. And this is the very beginning of something new and something very exciting. If there are going to be glitches in the game over the next year, then I can live with that, because I'm looking towards the future and what they're actually trying to build here. And so far, what I'm seeing is extremely good. We're going to see new ways in which the ball travels, spins through the air, and the way it bounces, and these look absolutely delightful. As well as some fantastic new animations, including things that we've not yet seen before, including this volley into the ground. So when you add all that to the enhanced libero that they've developed and the new role of the inverted fullback, I think we have some very exciting things to look forward to. I'm very, very excited about how this looks, and I'm very excited about how tactically it will operate. One of my concerns I have is looking at this is if attacking formations are going to be so good at opening up defenses, then is it going to be easy to defend against this kind of thing? And so working out how to defend against Manchester City, who already beat me by 5-0 when I'm promoted to the Premier League, might be a little bit more difficult. But there must be a way, and I'm pretty sure that whilst we're seeing all this a good attacking movement, that also the defensive movement will be able to cope with most of the teams, if not Manchester City. And so it is quite remarkable what I'm seeing, and I can't believe how much work has been done on the game since last year. And so I'm so looking forward to the release of FM24. And so have a look at these videos, which are available for everyone to look at in much more detail. Pick out things. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you changed your mind? Because a lot of people told me that perhaps they wouldn't buy it this year. Have you changed your mind? Have the new graphics persuaded you that this may well be worth investing some money in this year? The very last one of its kind, and I think what's going to happen from 25 onwards is going to be very exciting times indeed. These graphics are going to get stronger, we're going to have new interfaces, and all kinds of things are part of the plans I think they have over the next few years. Boy, am I getting excited already for November. And I can't wait to try this out. And that's it for this video. If you are brand new to the channel, you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing the game, then why not? Subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow. Help us to support the very good work of the British Heart Foundation. I can't help feeling really, really excited about what is to come in the next few years. And all that remains to be said now, stay safe. And we'll see you in the next video.